Well, hi gang, welcome to another great night with the dirt bike community. We're going to do something fun tonight, something that's kind of near and dear to my heart. We're going to talk about supermotos. So we're going to kind of talk about some things you can change up on your bike a little bit and turn it into one of those little beasties, and a little bit about the history of supermoto as well. Not too many people know about that. So supermoto was actually started in 1991 by an outfit called Galera. They're an Italian manufacturer, and they started out with their supermoto bikes, and basically they were taking dirt bikes and kitting them out with road race wheels and doing some special tricky stuff on them, and that's really kind of where it created. And then Husqvarna, KTM, Cagiva, all the big makers, Ducati had the Hypermotard. They've all made some sort of a variation of a supermoto. So basically, this is a stock DRZ 400 S model. It's built for the dirt, and you can tell it's got some knobbier tires on it. You could throw some knobbier ones on there if you wanted. This is straight off our showroom floor, very straight rate, stock exhaust, and it's got the turn signals and all that, and factory foot pegs and coolant hoses, the whole 9 yards. So if you've got a platform like this, you could actually take a Husqvarna. I race with buddies on their Huskies and on their KTMs and gases, and got a few friends on their Suzukis as well, Hondas. I mean, basically any dirt bike you can turn into a supermoto. You just got to get the wheel setup combo for it. So this is a 2007 DRZ 400 SM. And it's no longer in the stock form anymore. You can obviously tell it's got the cool graphics package on it. Some things you're gonna see different that I've put together on this bike. Obviously, I've got the wraparound hand guards. I believe these are a Zeta hand guard. These actually have a turn signal assembly in them too, so you could street legal this. This bike was actually street legal when I first got it, and then just kind of started doing some crazy stuff on it. Some updates you can do on handling. Braided brake lines definitely gives you a lot better feedback on your brakes. And not gonna lie, I love the DRZ 400 brakes. They are just a lot of feedback to them. You can feel every little granular of the brake pad rolling through your fingertips. And that's actually one of the things where I really gain a lot of my advantage out on the racetrack. Is I've actually, when I spin the bike around, we'll kind of show some of that. But I run different brake pads in the bike. I actually run some EBC brake pads, and I've got MotoMaster wave rotors on the bike as well. And we'll kind of see some of those comparos here in a second. Some different things you can do on the bike as well is I've got aftermarket levers on the bike. This one, I believe it's just kind of a cheapy Amazon guy. It was actually on the bike when I got it. It works good, so I didn't change it. My clutch lever, I actually changed to a Pro Taper clutch lever. Gives me a lot of good feedback. I get a lot of adjustability out of the bike, so it really helps out on that. Now, one thing you're going to notice from this bike compared to the factory DRZ is that big headlight assembly. That headlight assembly weighs a ton. Basically, it actually attaches to your fork legs up here and all this, so all that gets yanked off. And this is actually a RMZ 450 number plate, so it works out really well, bolts right up onto the bike, and it fits really well too. I think it kind of suits the bike. Front fender, I've changed to a Cherubies front fender on it versus the big hulky guy over there, so it gives a little sportier look to it and a little narrower feel to it as well. And then if we kind of look on the exhaust system here, compared to the factory DRZ 400, I've got a Yoshimura RS3 exhaust system on it. Now, some people wrap their exhaust. I prefer to wrap mine. Some people don't. One big advantage on heat wrapping your exhaust is it actually dissipates a lot of your heat on the bike. It'll actually transfer all that heat and blow it out of the exhaust versus radiating it through the motorcycle. One of the things that on your rear shock, if you don't have that heat wrapped, any of that heat coming off your exhaust will superheat your rear shock fluid. Then that can actually cause issues. So it gives you a big advantage if you can keep that heat down, and really helps it out quite a bit. When the bike is running, I can actually tap my hand on the exhaust and it won't take skin off. That would actually do some major damage if you touch that thing when it was hot. So gives you some positives on what you can do with the bike and how it's going to operate for you. Then if we kind of look a little deeper on some of the little goodies, just some race spec things. Since I'm running on the racetrack, you've got to run axle sliders on the bike just in case something bad goes down. That way you don't carve up the track. And if you notice, I've actually got all my pinch bolts safety pinned as well. That's a requirement that you need. That way those things don't come vibrating out, and then you're throwing hardware, maybe a loose axle as you're racing in that environment. So just little things like that. If we kind of take a look up at the radiator here, you can see that the radiator cap has been safety as well. And then also my oil cap is safety wired as well. And if you really got deep into it, a lot of the banjo bolt fittings for the brake lines are all safety wired. So none of this stuff can come off. Basically, it's going to keep all those fluids contained into the bike versus spilling out over and causing an issue with another rider on the track. And honestly, if you're racing on a track, you don't want to be that guy dumping fluid down on the track, because then you usually end up shutting the race session down and everyone's looking bad at you, and it costs a lot of money to race. So if you can definitely avoid those situations, a lot better off. These little red spacers, those are actually called rubber killers. And what they do, normally there's a rubber damper in there to where your bars flex a little bit. These take all that out, and that way you get a lot more finite feedback on the system, and you can actually feel what's going on with the bike. You can get those for any bike out there. They're just called rubber killers, and they just eliminate the rubber dampener in the system. A lot of the cool part is you're actually shaving weight off the bike too. So if you're looking to kind of trim a little bit of weight off the bike, that definitely helps out. And if you take a really close look, you'll notice if you've got a Husky or a KTM sitting at home, or a gas, I run that hardware. It's actually lighter and stronger than the older factory Suzuki hardware on there. So we can kind of take a look at some of the little goodies down here. Obviously, I've got my axle sliders here. Then any of the axle bolts, those are all safety wired too, so they won't backspin off. These are the wave rotors I run. These are actually a Moto Master wave rotor, so they a lot better heat displacement, better braking in the system as well. So gives you a little better braking action on that as well. So definitely helps out in that process. Larger carburetor, this is an FCR carburetor. They usually come with a vacuum diaphragm carburetor. This is actually a 41 millimeter. Some people go with 39 millimeter carburetors. I actually upped mine to a 41 because there's some magic stuff going on in the cylinder head as well, and we'll kind of talk about that in a second. Some people might ask what this little catch can is. If you're racing on a track, you need to keep all of your fluids contained. That way, if you ever go down on the track, you're not going to spill any fluid or any coolant down onto the track, and that way it'll cause bad issues. So self-containing all the overflow for the carburetor, and then my overflow coolant bottle, that line is actually dumping into my air box, and my air box is sealed at the bottom so it won't leak out as well. Here at this Master Link, notice it's safety wired, so that's one of the requirements as well. Or you can get away, some tracks will let you just put in a big goop of silicone on there so that Master Link doesn't kind of unclip, and then you're not having issues out there as well. These are all safety wired as well, so a lot of drilling and prep work for that. Same on your pinch bolts up here. These are all safety wired and pinned as well. And then that's also a big front Moto Master wave rotor that I'm running on this. Gang, I know it's kind of short and sweet, and that's what we brought for you tonight. And I hope that kind of gets you excited for the coming race season that's going to be coming up. So hope to see you out there, and maybe we can introduce yourself to us if you see us rolling out there. Zach's bike is basically the twinner to mine, except his graphics are blue, white, and black. And just super proud to be supported by the Edge and show our colors out there. Hopefully we see you out there, gang, and we'll see you next time out there too. Hope you have a great night. Thanks.